I recently had an experience where I wanted to actually book a hotel venue for Reframe, which is the company that I work with. My brother, we have an education company where we do conferences. And this representative was asking me questions. And at the end of her asking a question, she moved on to the next question. But I would say something really deeply considerate that was like an emotional moment for me. And not once did she take a moment to acknowledge what I was saying. And that immediately turned me off. We ended up not booking that venue just because that person ticked me off so much that she wasn't listening to me. She literally ignored something that I shared vulnerably about a pain point that I had with the previous venue. And because of that, I didn't do business with her. So just imagine how your customers are feeling when you're just going over one question over the other without really pausing and making them feel seen and heard. And so this is real for me. This is also real for your customers. In this video, I'll show you the 3 biggest communication mistakes that professionals make and how to fix it using a framework called SELL, S-E-L-L. Let's get started. Now let's talk about the acronym SELL. This stands for serve, empathize, listen, and lead. When we talk about serve, this is a mindset. It's going into a conversation not trying to convince someone that they need to buy something from you. Instead, you're going into a conversation trying to serve that moment, trying to be present for the client, to listen and empathize, which are the other 2 letters of the word. And what you're doing is you're building a connection. You're also in the back of your mind trying to understand, is this client a fit for me and am I a fit for them? When you are approaching any conversation this way, naturally you're going to build a genuine connection with that person, and they'll know that you're going in there without an agenda. You're going in there with the intention to help, to serve, and this is what helps you accelerate that connection naturally and makes the other person feel more comfortable in wanting to continue building a relationship with you or buying a service or a product from you. So get your mindset into, I am here to serve this moment. I'm here to serve this client. Because instead, if you're going to give yourself the pressure that I have to close this, I have to convince them to buy this from me, the client's going to feel that and it's going to lose all that trust, all that rapport, and it very likely is going to reduce your chances of being able to convert those deals. So the second one we talked about is empathize. Why do you want to empathize? Because at the end of the day, we're human and humans are looking to build a connection. They want to be able to do business with someone they know, they like, and trust. And that's actually a quote from Seth Godin, which is, people like to do business with people they know, like, and trust. So how can they know you, like you, and trust you is by showing the human side of you. You're here to empathize. You're not thinking about anything else in the back of your head. How can I sell this? When do I close? What do I say to convince them? Instead, you are truly being present. You're listening and you're connecting with their world. Most of the times when clients are coming to you, they are in pain. Their business pain could be representative of money that's been lost, employees that they've lost, really bad times that they're going through, frustrations, mistakes. And in that moment, what you want to do is you want to match that energy and you want to genuinely connect and really feel what they're feeling. That's what empathy is. So if you're showing up to conversations, genuinely trying to understand their perspective and creating that relatability, what you're doing is you're accelerating rapport building and trust. So you want to make sure that you create space in an environment where you can do that. Third letter is L, which is listen. And this is ultimately the most impactful and most powerful skill that you can exercise in any sales conversation, because you have 2 of these and you have 1 of these. If you can use this more than you use this, then you're going to have twice as much the probability of having success, which means that when you are using this, you're asking really good questions and you are allowing the client to share with you their context, their perspective, their pain points, what is in their mind. And as they are telling you the answers, little by little, they are actually revealing and self-discovering how much they need you, or they are actually learning around how to navigate the problem together with you, which naturally helps you build that trust. And they start seeing themselves with you solving the problem. So listening is one of the most powerful skills that you can leverage. And we'll talk a little bit about how you can become a better active listener. And then the last one stands for lead. You are leading conversations. Yes, ultimately, they are the ones that make the financial decision, whether they want to hire you or not, but you are the expert. They are coming to you for your leadership and for your guidance. So if you cannot show that you have the credibility, the experience, and the ability to solve their problem, then they are not gonna follow you with whatever recommended advice you're gonna give them. And so you lead that by making sure that you have really good structure, really good discipline in the conversation, and executing all of the right communication skills that transmits to them that you're here to serve, you're here to empathize, you're here to listen. And that's how you lead, is by following the proper framework to feel the moment and lead the conversation to the right next steps, which means that you're not going to leave them with making the decision all by themselves. You lead them to the next natural step. And so there are a few things that you could say towards the beginning, the middle, and the end of the conversation to help the client feel comfortable enough to make a decision. Because ultimately what your role is to help someone accelerate decision making, even if the decision is no. So here's the first biggest mistake that everybody makes in the world of sales. You ready for it? It's thinking that you have to talk more than you have to listen. And the reason this happens is because most professionals think that if I can prove myself, I can talk about how knowledgeable I am, how educated I am about the product or my service, then I can prove my credibility. When ultimately what clients want to talk about is themselves. So the impact of you talking too much in the conversation is that the client will actually disengage and they will actually tune out of what you're saying, because you could be overwhelming them with information. And then ultimately what's happening in the back of their head is, this person doesn't want to listen to me. All they want to do is listen to themselves talk. This destroys trust. And then the client does not feel like they have ownership over the decision. Again, they start thinking this person's trying to sell me something, or they're trying to convince me to buy something from them. And that ultimately leads to losing opportunities. So here's a hack. What helps you sell more is by uncovering what they are saying, uncovering their pain points, understanding their world, gaining more context. And you can only do that by listening and asking really good questions. A good rule of thumb that you want to follow is 80-20 rule. You want to be doing 20% of the talking, and 80% of the time you want to be listening, taking notes, and understanding their world, their pain points, what they are looking to accomplish. Earlier, I talked about the acronym SELL, which stands for serve, empathize, listen, and lead. And in this scenario, what you want to do is just listen. The only way you can listen is by asking really good questions. So how do you get better at listening? Well, you got to get ready for your conversations. And to do that, you want to pre-plan. You want to make sure you're taking notes, and you want to understand what is the client looking to accomplish, and prepare a good 3 to 5 high impact, open-ended questions that will open up the conversation, that will help you gather the facts, understand about their pain point, understand their goals, maybe learn things about their budget, maybe think about time frame. So these are some really important things for you to know. Is this client a fit for me? And will they understand that I'm transmitting to them that I want to understand what they're looking to accomplish, so that I can build that trust, we can be aligned, and move the conversation towards the next appropriate step. Hey, if you're liking this so far, please make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. This helps me be able to make more content for people like you, so that you can elevate your communication, get better at your sales, and be able to lead with confidence and clarity. So I appreciate that. Now, the second mistake that a lot of people make here is speaking with tentative language. What does tentative language sound like? Is, well, I think, or maybe, or sort of, kind of. Any of these filler words absolutely derail and devalue your credibility. So what you want to do is you want to sound more certain when you're talking about your ability to solve someone's problem. Some ways that you can do that is by swapping your language from tentative to more intentional language. What does that sound like? When someone asks you, hey, have you done a project like this before? Instead of saying, yeah, I think I've done something like that, you say, in my experience, what I've done is I've worked with clients with similar scenarios as yours, and how I've been able to approach that is through X, Y, and Z. So what does that do? You are actually revealing that you have experience in solving a problem like that, which gives them the confidence and certainty that they're working with the right person. Another type of language you can use, instead of saying I think or maybe, is you can say, here's what I know, right? And now you are leaning on your knowledge again and your experience to help someone pay attention to what it is you know, so that you elevate that credibility and certainty on their end that they know that they're working with the right person. My mentor, Phil Jones, likes to say that in the back of everyone's mind before they buy a product or a service from a person is they ask themselves these three questions. Have you done this before? Have you done it for someone like me? And have you done it recently? And if you could answer those three questions really well, then you are going to build the trust that you need for them to make the decision to move forward with you. You can only do that by showing up with language that sounds like you are certain, without coming off as arrogant. So here's what I know. In my experience, those are two great phrases that you can leverage to transmit that to your customers. Stop showing up to conversations like you are guessing or improvising. Instead, show up like you know what you're talking about. And every word that you use is either helping or hurting that conversation. So here's the third mistake: trying to convince them instead of trying to connect with them. Most people that make these mistakes of convincing them, you should buy this now, you should, do this, you should work with me. The word should is probably one of the worst words that you can use in any place where you haven't earned the right to make a recommendation, because that's what selling is earning the right to make that recommendation. And if you're going in trying to recommend a solution to a problem you haven't yet discovered well, the client's going to say, that's not my problem. You don't understand me. You haven't earned the right to win my business. Instead, what you want to do is you want to connect. And that's where the S and the E in the framework sell work really well. Remember to approach this with the mentality that I'm here to serve. And number two is I'm here to empathize. I'm here to understand your worldview and your perspective. And you do that by being present, by understanding, by making them feel seen and heard, rather than you're waiting for them to finish what they're saying so that you can say the next thing or you can ask the next thing because that's an agenda item, because that's a checklist item. You got to get yourself out of that and get yourself more into being present and in the moment with your clients. But you can only get good at this by practicing. I know we've gone over a lot. Let's recap real quick. Remember, if you're going to sell and you want to get better communication, follow the framework SELL. You're here to serve, you're here to empathize, you're here to listen, and you're here to lead. You follow those four key components and you're going to get much better at your communication. Remember to avoid these three mistakes. The first one is thinking that you need to talk more than listen. So make sure you follow that L in that framework. Listen more. You do this by preparing questions and have really considerate questions that help you uncover facts, uncover more context, so that it can move you naturally towards a place of connectivity and understanding the client's problem at a deeper level. Follow the 80-20 rule, which means that you only ask questions about 20, maybe even 30% of the time, and you let the client talk 70 to 80% of the time in that conversation. Second mistake, don't sound tentative. I think, maybe, sort of, let's try. All of these things are showing to the client that you're not sure about what it is that you're doing. And if you're uncertain, guess what? They're uncertain. And it's very likely they're not going to move forward with you. And the third, stop trying to convince. Instead, lead with connection. Try to be present, listen to them, make them feel seen, make them feel heard. And you do this by taking a moment to process what they said to you, acknowledge what they said, especially if they're being vulnerable with you and opening up about a pain point, a mistake, something that reveals an opportunity for you to create a better connection and understanding of their perspective. So if you want to learn more on a one-on-one level or with your team, I also provide services around coaching, speaking, or anything that would help you use this content, implement it in your world. Make sure you click on the description below to learn more information. And thanks for tuning in.